Hello, race fans. My next guest at this time is the reigning 410 Sprint Car champion at Skagit Speedway in Alger, Washington. Trey Starks, who drives the number 55 Sprint Car from Puyallup, Washington, is the next guest on Getting Up to Speed. Well, here's our next guest. It's Trey Starks out of Puyallup, Washington. He drives the number 55 Sprint Car. Trey, we hope that 2023, although we're like only a couple weeks into it, has been good so far. And yeah, thanks for coming on.
Absolutely. Yeah, thanks for having me. It's been good so far.
Yeah, a good start to a new year. Racing quiet hasn't started on the West Coast yet. It's creeping its way. And I guess we'll just lead into that. 2023 for you and you know, the race team that you'll be driving for, the family team. What do you guys got in store, or at least hope to try and get going this season?
Yeah, I think it's not going to be anything too crazy. It's going to be a lot like last year. I think we'll definitely get farther south this year. Last year we had plans to go down and run, you know, Cottage Grove and some other Oregon shows, and maybe even down into California. But we had I think the King of the West show for the Cottage Grove rained out, and then the Marvin Smith got moved over the top of something, and nothing really worked out. We've got some plans to run, you know, similar schedule that we did last year, but get down to Cottage Grove and Lebanon and maybe even Medford, and then the new Roseburg track. Hopefully, the plans are to be able to do all of that. But things obviously change. You never know. But yeah, our plans are to run around here locally, probably add a few more races than we did last year, but not too many. I think we had maybe 25 or so shows last year. Maybe not even quite that many. I could see us doing, you know, 25 to 30 races again.
Sure. Yeah, I was going to say my numbers, I had you 24 starts, 20 top 10s, 15 top 5s, 15 podiums, and 12 main event wins. That was combined in 360 and 410 competition. Got the NARC win at Grays Harbor in 410 action, 2 local Skagit wins for 410s, 5 360 wins at Skagit, and 4 at Grays Harbor. I mean, you're the man. You won the Skagit Speedway 410 championship, which that's got to feel awesome because they made their glorious return after a multi-year hiatus.
Yeah, absolutely. That was really cool for us. You know, we had a lot of special moments last year. It was really cool to see the 410s come back, and obviously to win the championship. That's, you know, cherry on top of it. We're excited that they're gonna add a few 410 races to the schedule, and hopefully we get to run the 410s more and more throughout the next couple of years. Hopefully we just, you know, get to add more races in general. I know out here we're pretty limited by the weather, but it'd be great to see more races in general out here, and not even that we can do them all. I mean, we're pretty limited to 25 to 30 race schedule, just with work and everything going on right now. But it's just cool to see, you know, life being brought back to the Northwest racing scene. Kind of taking it back to when I was younger and before I started racing sprint cars. You know, it gets that kind of nostalgia going again. And yeah, we're hoping to do even more this year. So yeah, great to see 410s come back, and was good to experience the success we did last year.
No doubt. I mean, when you put in the 360 category, you put your podiums, your top 5s, and your top 10s, it's all at 12, and you had, well, I have 14 starts. You only finished outside of third place twice. I mean, or, you know, outside of 10th place twice. I mean, that's just simply incredible. You guys were on kill, and, you know, 3 wins, 3 podiums, 3 top 5s, 8 top 10s, and 10 410 starts. That's including outlaw shows too. That isn't too bad either.
Yeah, no, I think the results last year kind of showed, in my opinion, 13 or so years of racing sprint cars in the making here. Obviously, we started out the first handful of years around, you know, basically strictly local, and then took off and started racing a little bit more across the U.S. You know, as I got a little bit older, and then obviously took off and went and raced somewhat full time back east in Pennsylvania, and then in Knoxville. We got a bunch of, or I got a lot of valuable seat time. That word's thrown around a lot, but it is very valuable to get as many laps in these cars as you can. Obviously, we've had a lot of experience around at home, and then taking kind of our notebook from around here, and then combining it with some of the stuff we learned on the road, and kind of brought it all together. Came full circle for us last year. A lot of it is staying with the same equipment and the same people on the car too. I mean, last year I was running race cars that were both built around the 2012, 2013 time, and have really around here been running the same cars ever since. So I think there's a lot to say about that.
Sure.
Just consistency, kind of, doing the same stuff. Knowing the race car that's under me, and just doing the best we can with what we have. And like I said, it was really rewarding for us last year to have the success, just because it was, it's a family team, and that's exactly what it is. It's basically me, my dad, my brother, and my grandpa, kind of making everything go around. And when we have success like we did last year, it really makes it all worth it.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's totally awesome what you guys have been able to accomplish. And like you said, you didn't make every race. Like, you were on I think you were leading both 360, 410 categories at Skagit. And then, you just had prior stuff to do. And then, obviously stayed up in the 410 ranks, but the 360s that, you weren't able to bag that, but you still were a threat, no doubt.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think I think going into it, we knew that as limited as the 410 schedule was, we saw an opportunity that we can, make all the 410 shows and, run for points per se. It's really special to us anytime we get to run 410s. So we kind of made it a goal to make all those shows, and then just fill the 360 races in where we saw fit. We never intended to run all of them. I think we actually ran more than we anticipated, just because we had things rolling pretty well, and we wanted to make sure we had some laps before the big races, like the big 360 races, like 360 Nationals and the Grays Harbor races too. So we ran, like I said, maybe a little bit more than we anticipated, but we've never been into running for points necessarily. I mean, the point fund is awesome up at Skagit right now, so it's hard to not want to try and chase it, the 410 especially. I do think, even though there's a lot more races up there, 410 races at Skagit, I think we're still going to try and run all of them. But yeah, like I said, it's just fun to be back doing it. We don't have to go race. We want to go race, and
Sure.
and that's what keeps the fun in it, I think.
Well, and how excited are you with the potential possibility of going back to California and getting on, especially some of the tracks that are there that you might have a shot at?
Yeah, it takes me back to, like I said, 2011, 2012, when that was kind of the first avenue that we branched out into. We started running down in California. It actually takes me down to the micro days. We used to do that. Every once in a while, we would head down south and see if we could run with the California guys. And, the bridge being built back between Washington and California makes me excited. It'll be good. I have a lot of friends down there and a lot of people I grew up racing with. So I'm really excited to potentially get back down there and get to race with those guys again.
Well, I know winning a 410 championship is a big deal. Definitely a big feather in your hat, especially at Skagit Speedway, representing the Evergreen State. It is one of the top tier facilities in the Pacific Northwest historically, and to get that as far as the next step, what would you say would be the next major goal? Would it be, Dirt Cup? That's the bulls I want to hit next, or something else, something at Grays Harbor, something in Oregon, something in California, getting a win in California?
Yeah, for sure. I think ultimately, in general, Skagit, for the local tracks, Skagit has been the toughest for me to tame, per se.
Mm-hmm.
I never felt natural there. Just throughout the years. Racing there, it was always one that was tough for me, a little bit more so than maybe Grace Harbor or Cottage Grove. And we kind of got over that hump this year, I would say. We were really consistent there, especially in the 360. I felt really comfortable there all year. I'm really looking forward to this year. I mean, Dirt Cup's always, one of the biggest ones. Even more so now, I feel like it's, building back better than ever. And again, I remember Dirt Cup as a 410 race, growing up watching some of the baddest guys from California and watching them go at it in 410s. So it makes it, in my opinion, it makes it all that more special. I think this year in general, our goal is to improve overall on our 410 program. It's a little bit tougher, obviously, because there's not as many races. So we've been able to polish our 360 program over the years because that's what the majority of the races have been. I think now that they're adding more 410 races to the schedule, I think it gives us a good opportunity to get our 410 program up to speed to where our 360 is. And another one is being able to run at a few different tracks, going down to Oregon more. Would love to get back down there in a 410 or a 360, as well as this new Roseburg track they've got going on. I think, we're going to sprinkle a decent amount of races farther south than just Skagit and Elma this year. And like I said, that makes me excited. I like racing at different places. It always seems like running the same place every week kind of gets you in a rut. Definitely looking forward to that this year.
Well, and for listeners that may not know, maybe they're in the Midwest, East Coast, or even California, so Skagit Speedway, Alger, Washington, north of Seattle, home of the Dirt Cup, and they have not had 410s as a weekly class since, 2015 was the last year, correct? As a full champion being crowned? Matt Jensen was the champion?
I believe so. Yeah, the last time I remember running 410s was 2014, but I think that was right as I was kind of branching out, heading back east, doing a little bit more racing. But, it's been a while.
And then they brought Peter Murphy up from Colorado Speedway to, help. And when they said 410s are coming back, Dirt Cup's going to be a 410 race, I would have to say about this time last year, I would imagine there was a lot of naysayers and, hecklers, what are you doing? 410s are gone. They're not coming back. But it turned out a great car count, a great race, a great weekend, and a great season overall with 410s at Skagit.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it bounced back a lot quicker than some people thought. For me, from the start, I got starry-eyed because I was excited through and through about it, so I didn't really see any downside. I can see the speculation for sure. I don't want to be short-sighted on this, but I think it's going to do better than some people think. I think the goal this year is to, obviously we drew a great crowd for a great field of cars for Dirt Cup. You got a lot of outside support, mainly from California. You drug pretty much as many 410 cars in the area as you could. I think the goal this year is to build up the local car count and build up the local competition, and let it sustain itself. Show that 410s can put on great racing, and it can be done at a manageable level, and that we can, bring back moments like, I'll never forget when Travis Jacobson beat the Outlaws. That was one of the biggest moments that I can remember around here. And it's stuff like that really, really get people excited. It's not just about the drivers and it's not just about the fans, but it's about building all of it up. And I think we've got a pretty good program building up for years to come. I think, Kevin Erdeen and Peter Murphy are doing a great job. And I think if they keep at it and they're relentless in their effort, I think we'll end up with a pretty good product.
Yeah, no doubt. And what was really definitely a nod of genius was obviously Dirt Cup, World of Outlaw weekend was kind of like the bookend, sort of and then had a couple races in there. So it was manageable for teams from outside of the area to show up versus every single week, like a slow build. And I think it's been a successful slow build.
For sure. Yeah, no, like I said, it's going to take a while. It's not going to happen overnight, but I think the only way to help the program along is just get more races and let people get more laps, and then not only at Skagit, but hopefully this branches out to Grace Harbor and down into Oregon. And like I said, eventually, recreates that bridge between California and Washington. It was a big deal back in the day. All the drivers coming up and running Dirt Cup, and there was the Speed Week up leading up to Dirt Cup. That was always fun to watch too. So
sure.
I'm really excited that to feel like a part of that at least might be coming back.
So one of my favorite stories was, oh gosh, what would that been? 2000. Well, they started they reintroduced the drive back, like they would run Southern Oregon maybe the Saturday before, then they'd get into prelim action on Thursday. But then Cottage Grove in 2009 got a part of it. Then Willamette was a part of it one time. Then they had a Speed Week. I remember one of those years. I want to think it was 2010, 2011. This actually involves you. There was a ASCS Northwest race. Had to been Great Falls because you guys were coming westbound from 90, and something about you'll have to fill me in a little bit better, but like you guys had to go back into Idaho to visit a scale house or something. Did I remember that correctly?
Oh yes, we had Montana. I think we had Montana police got us basically crossing into the Idaho border, trying to get us to go over a scale house. So we had to go back across the line and go to the scale house just basically to explain to the highway patrol that our vehicle was technically registered as a motorhome, so it doesn't have any DOT numbers, nothing like that. It was a whole ordeal. That situation hasn't got any. I mean, we still have the same rig today.
Yeah.
That situation hasn't been any easier to deal with. Luckily, we don't travel as much, so not as much opportunity to heckle with the state patrol.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've had enough stories like that to remember. But I mean, that's those are some of the exclamation points that we've had, among many others. The traveling that we were fortunate enough to be able to do when I was younger and in high school. Run around back when Dallas Melby was helping us out. He was a big part of the team back then. I mean, that's a lot of those things have kind of shaped my upbringing. It was a big part of my, later childhood, and can't replace those memories for sure. Like I said, all over from here to Montana or here to California, and everywhere in between, we had a lot of fun.
Oh man, because the only reason I remember it is because the race was at Cottage Grove, and I was announcing, and everybody said you were going to be there, and I think you had told me you were going to be there. I'm like, where are they?
Yeah.
They're not here.
It was touch and go.
It was like, it was the 59th second of the 59th minute of the 11th hour. And,
there comes a big red rig rolling in.
Exactly. And your dad is like, all red and look like he hasn't slept in 2 days. So,
oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there's a lot going on in a short amount of time. But that's part of the fun, huh?
Exactly. Yeah. If it wasn't an adventure, a little bit of interesting things doesn't make the story that great.
It'd be boring then.
Yeah, no doubt. So like we're kind of getting the closing stages of the off season, but like, I like to ask this question for a lot of drivers. Like, what do you like to do during the off season? Do you like to sim race? Do you like to just kind of relax and just kind of get away from racing for a bit? Or what are the things that people will find Trey Starks doing?
Yeah, I mean, I would say I had more downtime maybe in the off season when I was living in Pennsylvania during the summers and racing back then, just because we didn't really have as much going on work wise. But also at the same time, I was still going to school. I was still in college. Nowadays, obviously with work with TNC Concepts, with me and my dad, my brother, we've got plenty of stuff to do during the off season, and it's actually usually the busier time for us because a lot of our customers go through their new product integration like the first of the year. So like right now we're in pretty much full swing. So we don't get a lot of downtime in the off season. Most of it's work. And when it's not working, we're, building race cars, I guess. We've got our hobbies that we like to do, but nothing major. I hate to, make it sound boring, but really it's a lot of work during the off season, whether it's for, actual work or on the race cars. That's usually what we're doing. So yeah, spending time with family for sure is a big one, especially now that I'm, home full time, and everybody's here again. So, yeah, just living a normal life, kind of staying, keeping it mellow, staying under the radar.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Getting the well-deserved rest before you jump back into it. So.
Yep, absolutely.
As far as people where they can follow along of your schedule, where you're going to be racing, or maybe if they want to purchase apparel or any sort of business like that, what's the best way for people to get a hold of you or to visit on the internet?
Yeah, it'd be my website, TreyStarksRacing.com. Inside Light Promotions, Sean Miller does a lot of my press release, but any merchandise can be bought online or through Trey Starks Racing Facebook or on Twitter. Starks55 Trey is my Twitter handle. It's also on Instagram. Any of those spots work. It's obviously being around home. I when we were out racing back east, I feel like I stayed on top of the apparel a lot more, and last year showed that I need to get back on it. So we released another run of stuff, but I think we're going to do another big t-shirt order here going into the start of this year. So yeah, website should be a great spot, or like I said, to get a hold of me, either Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. Any of them work.
Nice. And then as far as marketing partners, individual people, sponsors, I'll just give you the floor to thank all of them and acknowledge them.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's like I said, right back to the family deal. So our main, supporter is ourselves, TNC Concepts, but we have a lot of friends that help out. Melby Frab and Truck Repair, that's Dallas. He definitely stays with us through. He's been with us whether he's working for the team or not for the last 15 or 13 years, however long we've been doing it. So he started his own business, doing some fabrication and semi-truck repair and stuff like that. So, but then mainly other than that, it's product sponsors, FK Shocks, Ale Drive Line, Newland Bar Service. Like I said, there's not, as you can see, our car stays pretty plain. There's not a whole lot of stuff on the race car. We've been running J&J race cars for years, as well as Fisher Racing engines. So, you can, if you're looking for a big design change for next year, you're not going to get it. It's probably going to look about the same.
Yeah.
But like I said, that's how we've been for small family team. I mean, it's nothing complicated, and especially now, it helps. Like I said earlier, to we don't have to go race every Saturday night, and we don't feel like we have to. We go race when we want to, and I think that's what makes it fun. And I think, that actually might contribute more than you might realize to the success we've been having lately. Is there's not a lot of pressure, and like I said, everybody's enjoying themselves when we're out there racing. So,
sure.
Yeah, good times right now for sure.
Well, we greatly appreciate you coming on. We hope that 2023 is another incredible year for you and the race team. And yeah, we appreciate the time.
Absolutely. No problem. Thank you very much. We're looking forward to 2023.